¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está, cuñado?
Atascocampo, Jutiapa, is the city de Atascocampo, the state of Jutiapa, and the country of Guatemala.
Wow.
I'm right on the border to El Salvador. Uh, there's a volcano here. I climb up that's split in half by the by a border.
Wow.
So I'm right on the border. The spirit wouldn't let me cross the border, so it said, "Stay here in Atascocampo, and there's nothing but love here, brother."
Well, go figure that.
It's
And look at the colors over your
yeah,
head.
yeah, yeah.
The colors over your head are that
Huh?
rosy. That the colors over your head are that rosy
Uh-huh.
pink and that turquoise kind of aqua green that have been coming up all over the earth. So there's no
Oh, is
mistakes.
that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I can show
yeah.
you some
Oh, we know
pictures.
that.
I can show you some pictures.
I'd
A lot of people have downloaded
like
it.
to see that.
Yeah. So, man, it's been a long time. I missed you. I actually worried a bit about you. I tried to come bring energy or something a couple times, but if I'm not mistaken, if we encapsulate everything we talked about before in your journeys, more recently, you basically walked from Canada to Guatemala. I mean,
No,
you went into.
I went into Canada, then I came back to the U.S. and went to Minnesota. Remember
Oh, that's right.
Minnesota with Maggie?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I spent
Oh, we lost him. We lost your volume. Your volume's off. It's gonna come on. Maybe unplug it and plug it back in. You can try calling back in. I don't know what happened. The sound went out on your end. Huh. So he went to Minnesota. He was in California, remember that. Try calling back in. Yeah, try calling back in, see if that works. See what happens. He looks good though, doesn't he? For those of you who don't know Lawrence, he's got an incredible story. He tore up his ID, titles, licenses, was living in Denver. Here he comes. Let's see if this works. Here we go. We got you back.
okay. Can you hear me?
Yep. So you went Minnesota, California.
Then I came back, yeah, back across the U.S. to California, Oregon, then back down to Mexico, then back into the U.S., and then back into Mexico, where I lost my cell phone in Mexico City, and then made my way to Guatemala. No, it's no walking. It's all by bus. It's all by bus. I also went to an island by boat.
Wow.
The Santa Catalina Island on the coast of California. I spent a month there. So no, no walking. It's all.
Well, I
It's
mean,
either
well, I mean, you. But still, that's a long, long way. I mean, Mexico City's deep in Mexico. I mean, that's a long. I lived in South Texas, and it's a long way from there.
yeah. It was quite the journey. I'd have to say hundreds of buses. Hundreds of buses. They use minivans for buses in Mexico and Guatemala. They also use the Bluebird High School, elementary or whatever school buses all over the country. Those are the buses.
How is Mexico?
So
Is it very diverse, or is it like it?
Oh, it's northern Mexico is hot and dry, and Mexico City was absolutely beautiful, high country, green and lush, as beautiful as ever.
Hmm.
So the further south you got, the greener it got, the more moisture you received, and it was a blessing to me because I've been in so much dust and dirt, and heat, dropping into Mexico City. I don't know. I spent maybe a month in Mexico City, learning how to navigate the spirit. You know, free. I don't pay for anything. Everything's free. So I only know I go where the spirit says it wants me to go. So can
So
you hear
you,
me?
yeah, I can hear you. So you're still navigating off of the same navigating system you were using once you made up your mind in Denver, and through all your journeys, you're still operating from a free soul.
I'm operating in as one of the many. I mean, basically, to try to bring this into context to share with you, I'm living as one. Either every human being is a node on the network that communicates to me on where to go, when to go, free.
Right.
Because I eat and one family gives me a house here to sleep in, another family feeds me in their restaurant, and other people provide food if I'm not around town. Food and water when I need the food and water. It's the Creator flowing through every heart on the planet. It's eternal essence embodied in the form that I communicate with, that I live for and with, I abide in, even as it abides in me. So the one in you is the one who cares for, carries me, and guides me everywhere I go. And so it's like a parent to me. I don't pay attention to the storyline of the human. Let's say when it's time for me to go from here in Atascocampa, it'll either be the family that is giving me the home to stay in because they'll have a story to tell me, like maybe one of their family members has to move back home and take over the house, and that's that's the cue for Lawrence to go. Or this family here that feeds me says they can no longer afford to feed me, or they can't, and I have to go now. Or it'll be something that says it's time for me to go, and I will thank them from the bottom of my heart for the love that they shared to this point, because everything, absolutely everything, Todd, is a story.
Hmm.
It's a story overlaying the energies of intention of Source itself, guiding each and every one of us in service to itself, because collectively we are Source. We are collectively the one, like a body. We are
Hmm.
cells within the body, and each cell is fit for purpose and function. Everyone has their divine purpose and function in all that I am, we are. So if you gather the notion, if you take the terms of the lattice, the web of light that exists from the central universe all the way out to our universe and into our galaxy center and into our sun solar system and into your heart, we're all interwoven in a tapestry of creation. And it's that tapestry that creates the lines of communication where I communicate direct with Source in the lattice. Because, see, the lattice energy network is not like a typical lattice or matrix. It's got a third shunt on the lattice that bypasses nodes of polarity. So I live in the void. I live in the emptiness, the nothingness, the not knowing. And in the not knowing is where the infinite potential is birthed. It's like tachyon energy. The first particles of manifestation come from nothingness to everything. So yeah, I live in the void. I live in the not knowing. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going to be or where I'm going to go next, but I'll be guided. Uh, and I will follow. I'm guided to follow my highest excitement, and it's an adventure.
That's right.
That you just don't know the wheres and the whens and the hows until hindsight reveals
It's in the I don't know.
lessons of expansion.
Yeah, it's in the I don't know. And some people would call that chaos. I find myself, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I don't know. Somebody asked me last night, what are we going to do? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. We show up.
It's not.
Go ahead.
It kind of, it's over a period of time. Well, I've been doing this is my 5th year now. You learn to become comfortable in the uncertainty, and it's how you practice living in the moment, in the now, because we don't have a past and there is no future. Mm-hmm. We only have the eternal now. Mm-hmm. I mean, because all time exists simultaneous, right? And the only way for me to traverse time is in the void, in the emptiness of the knowing. Because if I make plans, the human makes plans, it gets in the way of its true self that operates in the now.
In the void, in the magic.
Yeah, in the emptiness comes that fulfillment. That's what I keep saying. But it's very hard to grasp. But over time, I know that every time I share my journey, the first time you got certain information, certain seeds were planted in your heart that they will blossom when they're supposed to. And in the future, the more I share the language I use and the more I share, it will catalyze more and more people into an expanded awareness of something they already know, because they already know deep down behind the person that you believe you are. The person has been conditioned and trained to control and direct its own life. Because I know the Creator knows exactly who I am, knows exactly where and when I want to be. It's me in my future, because I will get there. I exist there now, but I'm in this realm, what we call time, navigating a dream, or navigating the sea of consciousness that we are. Because we are living in the whole or holy sea of consciousness. And to be free or liberated from the controlling aspects of the mind, you've got to literally let go of everything. And then I did. That's the only way you can be filled with new, higher frequency ways and means of existence. And it's by faith and trust that I walk and I live and I breathe every day. And it's my Father, Mother, God who cares for me through all of you and us, all the yous and us. To give you an example, just a small example of the beauty and the elegance of the Creator. Without me ever saying a word, I do a lot of hiking, and I have these sandals that I wear because I prefer to wear sandals. And sandals aren't conducive to hiking up a volcano that you got to basically do a third-class climb up rocks and roots on trees in a jungle. So I'm coming down, and I'm getting all these rocks and this mud and stuff stuck in my feet, between my bottoms of my soles, and I'm taking my shoes off 10 times over, just griping and mumbling to myself, gosh, I wish I had some shoes. I said to myself, I guess if I'm supposed to have a pair of shoes, I'll get a pair of shoes. And I let it go. And that's what you got to do. You got to just simply let it go. Surrender your wants and your desires or what you think you need. And then here it comes a few weeks later. One of my adopted families invited me to go into the capital of the state of Hutiapa and go shopping. I didn't know I was going shopping, but they pulled up to a store and bought me a pair of shoes. I didn't say a word. I don't have to, because the Creator knows my thoughts and everyone. So if the human satisfies its wants and desires with the use of money or the fiat energy or the currency called money. It can satisfy those desires instantaneously. Me, I don't know if I'm going to need those things or not. So I just, I live in that realm with no money. I just live on faith and trust in the one that flows through all. And if it's meant to be that I can, then I allow it to happen or not.
I think his frequency just went fried again. He's lit. Hang up and call back. Your volume went off again. Hang up and call back. Yeah. He'll be back. Man, this is awesome, isn't it? He looks good. He looks real good. I want to ask him about, in his own space, in that dialogue we have, who's he talking to? Let's see. You're back. Hey, can I ask you something? Can you hear me?
Yes.
You said something really interesting to me, and I'll just put it in my own words. But through all of our lives, everybody kind of has different faces of the universe or different energy complexes or different planets or whatever. They might bring them to the party. And as time goes on, there's this dialogue with you and you, right? And a lot of people would refer to the Akashic record and all that. But when you were talking, I got the feeling, the way you described it, and it was really hit home like in my heart, that you were tapping in, regardless of what else, to the living library, to the conscious library on the earth, all the people, their compassion, their dream, everything. Is that what you were saying? I mean, you're tapping into all the brothers and sisters on the planet at all.
Yes and no. Again, Lawrence knows nothing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My service is to all of humanity, and since all of humanity makes up Source, then I suppose in that sense, yes. But it's not something that Lawrence, the person that you're talking to, knows anything about. He just simply navigates the dream. The whys and the hows. I mean, why my body is here in a Deska Tempo, only Source knows. I don't know. Or at least I don't know now. Maybe I'll know in hindsight after I leave this place. But I don't know now why it is that Source or you, the collective, wants me here. It could be that this is a node on Gaia, where my awareness flows through the web or the morphogenetic field on planet Earth. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. One thing I do know is the Spirit guided me into the awareness that I was, a universal ambassador, an emissary of the Resonance Project, functioning like a reconnective healing practitioner. Source speaks to me through all of you. Speaks to me through signs on passing cars, on buses. It speaks to me on street signs. It speaks to me on the names of cities, the names of states, the logos to the states. It speaks to me in every way. I pay attention to the story. hiding behind what the human takes as just normal nothingness. But everything has purpose. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely everything speaks to Lawrence. And I call it, it's my language of light, because everything is light, or of sound, melded into the colors of light, that create the form that we embody in this story we call life. So I don't know, I couldn't tell you how many lifetimes I've lived. I can tell you that Spirit told me, played out that I'm by the Lyran constellation. That makes sense to me. My first car was a Vega. It was a white
Your first car was
74
a Vega.
Chevy Vega.
They were rare commodities. They're rare commodities.
Yeah.
Just like you,
yeah.
man. Just like you. Wow.
Well, we're all unique and special. No one's greater than or less than. We're all integral to our wholeness. And so when I speak to people, when this information, this data flow came through me through my experience and putting two and two together with the Wingmakers material, sharing information on a future network called the Sovereign Integral Network. Well, that totally resonates with my journey, because everyone on my journey is speaking to me on where to go and where to be, and everybody's caring for me for all my needs. So they know everything. I mean, the source, that collection point, that data collection point at Galactic Central, and then at Universal Central, or the original CIA. Yeah, I mean, everything speaks to me. The original CIA is the heart, the Central Intelligence Agency of the heart, the Nexus Central. Oh, we are the heart of the universe.
22:22 when you said that. 22 minutes, 22 seconds on the broadcast. So, I mean, how do you spend your day? You just do you make it a point to get out on the land, or just whatever comes?
I just basically I go up into the mountains. I go into the lakes. I spend my day in nature. I have a hammock that I carry in my little backpack. I have a water bottle and some rain gear in case the rain should break out. But yeah, I go for hikes, and I go venture into other villages that are around, because I'm in a very rural area. Everything is about 100 years behind the U.S. I mean, they don't have hot water here. They don't have dishwashers and washing machines, things like that. They have cold water that's fed by gravity for the most part, and the water that does run through pressure only runs for certain hours of the day. And they don't pump concrete when they build these concrete buildings. They hand 5-gallon buckets of concrete from one stair to the next, and that's how they build their homes. I mean, everything is like way back in time, until you go to Guatemala City, the capital of the country, where it's like America, where they got everything.
They got everything.
So in this rural place, but here's the paradox: the richness. The love and the richness. These people are rich in love. They are rich in a way that the people in America cannot know. I am an alien in this place. I am the alien.
We know that.
The children come. They look at me like I'm, from planet something else or other, and they all come up to me and
they're going to write about you. You're going to be Saint Germain the Third in 200 years, from the pages of it sounds like a paradise.
It is a paradise. I mean, life is what you make of it, and it's all an inside job. If you can be happy in the nothingness, in nothing, with nothing, in nothing, everything, just absolutely everything, from the glass of water somebody gives you when you're thirsty to the loaf of bread somebody gives you when you're hungry. I mean, it's a gift. It's a gift. I mean, every day, my post today was, every day is a gift. The gift. Don't spoil the gift by bringing the past into the present.
Yeah. Every day's a
Something
lifetime.
something along those lines.
Every day's a
Yeah, I mean,
lifetime.
every day's a new beginning. It's being, Jesus said, you die daily because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's right.
You just go with the flow. And I mean,
Yeah.
literally, you want, like Bruce Lee said, be like water. Go with the flow. Don't resist anything. Just trust that absolutely everything in your life has a benevolent purpose to shoo you out to your own freedom. Freedom beyond limitations, because you can't embody your limitlessness by attachment to anything. It's attachment. It keeps us bound. It's prejudice or judgment that keeps us bound. Through magnetics, like an atom, an ion with a positive charge is a cation, and a negative charge is an anion. You're a free atom without charge, good or bad, right or wrong. In my world, when they kick me out of this town, whether it be, I don't care whatever way they kick me out of this town, I'll receive it as a message of love that says, it's time to move on to more further expansion, because my expansion is never stopping. My expansion took a quantum leap in Mexico City. I went from going into major corporate stores to get my food and clothing and things like that. And then Spirit guided me to actually meet God in form in the typical markets that everybody else shops in Mexico City. It guided me. It wouldn't allow me to get food or at the corporate stores anymore. So I kind of said, well, all right, if I'm just going to go to this taco stand that looks really cool right there, then I'm going to go see if I get myself some tacos. And I went ahead and ordered some tacos, and the guy gave me the taco and said, "Have a nice day." And I just like my whole world opened up to where I can go pretty much anywhere now. I don't have to think about going to the corporations that are foreclosed on and bottled up and put into my trust. But now I've evolved into simply trusting in the hearts of all people, because you are the creator to me. In all your forms and all your expressions, no matter what you throw at me, it's love.
Yeah.
It's love in all forms. It comes in infinite expressions. And what you don't see, the typical human would not see as love, is love. That's how you become the victor in every situation.
Yeah. We're looking at the same thing. We just have lenses on. The veils. So do you have, I mean, obviously you're very connected. The Earth's a big part of this. You seem to be heading south. Do you have any idea or any feeling as to what direction you're going to be heading? Or is it just always in the instantaneous?
Well, I let's put it this way. I have learned. I've been trained by Spirit to remain open to everything and attached to nothing. I came this way because when Alicia Young had said the borders opened up in Costa Rica in November of 2 years ago, maybe now. That's when I put forth the intention. I threw it out to the universe I'd love to go to Costa Rica. That would be cool. And so when I started going south across the border, I thought, well, that's where I'm going. Especially when I got here to the border of El Salvador, I thought, well, we're going to Costa Rica. Bueno. And then I made 3 attempts to go across the Salvador border, and all 3 attempts I was kicked out of El Salvador and back into Guatemala. So when Spirit doesn't want me to go, I don't go. But when Spirit wants me to go, I go. You don't need a passport. You don't need papers. You don't need nothing. But your higher self, your oversoul, says, "Vámonos." We go to Costa Rica, or maybe no Costa Rica. Maybe I may go to Costa Rica via Belize mañana. I don't know. I go to Belize and then Honduras and Nicaragua, and then I have to stay open to everything attached to it. I may be invited to go back north to Los Estados Unidos. No sé nada no más.
I know nothing. Do you have? Nothing. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Do you have any personal dreams, like for the body that contains, the body that represents you in the physicality? Does it have any dreams? Is there anything that part of you wants to do?
Well, I have of course I do, but this isn't about me so much as it is about we. I put forth an intention to create a sovereign realm of abundance, and that's when I gave permission to Spirit to pull and drag me through creating it for myself. It wasn't until after being pushed, pulled, and dragged through everything that I realized that I am all that is. So my dream is that all I am, we are, becomes free. Well, actually, everyone is free, and I'm here to let everybody know we're free to embody all the limitations we want to embody.
Would you say that intuitive?
We're free to dream.
Yeah. Sorry, it was lagging.
In other words, we've always been living as sovereign beings. We've always been sovereign beings. The only thing that's kept us limited is our own the mind. The mind is the prison for the human. The beliefs, the embodied beliefs, the actual living, the belief, embodied action. That's called works of faith. To free yourself from the bounds of limitation imposed by the brain, the belief, the embodied belief, let's say, for example, in borders, you have to push through your comfort zone and just basically continue to tell yourself there are no borders. I'm going to put my trust and faith then in allowing the Spirit to guide and carry me across the border if it's for my highest good, if the highest good of all I am, we are. Because my intention was for the highest good of all I am, we are. That's how my intention is supported by Source itself. So I can never lose as long as my intention is good for the all.
That's right.
There's nothing personal here. To have a personal desire is to create the illusion or support the illusion within myself that I'm separate from other selves.
Let me think of that one.
It's like to have a dream, I want a car, I want something, is to demonstrate lack to the universe, so the universe has no option but to reflect that lack back to you. I am abundance.
Yes.
And the new definition of abundance, according to Bashar, and I love the guy, despite I don't resonate with everything, is that he says the new definition of abundance is to have exactly what you need when you need it, and not before.
That's right.
No more and no less.
That's the frequency.
And that's
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 the
the
frequency.
frequency of living
Yeah.
in the now, in traveling light, literally traveling light, like
Yeah.
levity.
There's a lot of people
No
doing it.
gravity. I don't.
There's a lot of people doing
Yeah.
it. And to what Bashar said, and
I,
I feel the same way. There's a lot of you don't resonate with everything everybody says. I mean, but the thing is, there is like I think it's going to get down to that. Like I think you're on the front end of it. You're doing it in a very physical way, but energetically speaking, what you're doing is going to be the norm. So what that's going to mean is that we're going to be faith with, left with faith, but not so much. Oh, let me put it softly: less attachment, more connection. Operating off of how can you unattach from that which you are always connected to. So the whole idea of attachment is just an example of what you're talking about, the personal being. But still, you're you're having to be in a space where you're totally open all the time. And in order to do that,
see,
you had to go through some energetic fluctuations, etc., etc., etc. But I think this whole 5D or whatever you want to call it is this frequency, and I believe we're all going to it's all going to come down to it. The borders will be tested. The world will do what you're doing. You know, I mean, the borders will be tested, the laws will be tested, passports, IDs, everything will be tested. So thank you for taking a bulldozer and driving one of the first trails of the Ascension down into Central America. That's an energetic, powerful energetic imprint on this earth. Have you run into anyone else like you? No. Your sound went off again. Wait, your sound went off again. Can you call back? It went off again. Can you call back? All right, cool. God, this is wild. It feels like a dimensional experience. And did you see the hazy rose, rosy, dusty pink, and the turquoise aqua that was on the wall, that pastel that's been showing up in the skies? It's the one on the Soulogy Fest cover photo. Those colors have been showing up. Yeah, fascinating. Oh, here he is. Uh-oh. I didn't hear him ringing, though. I don't know if he's... Oh, you're back. You're back.
hola.
Have you run into any infinite travelers, ambassadors like yourself in your journeys?
On my journey, I met a young man from Germany who stayed with me here in Desert Tempa for 2 weeks. He was 27 years old. The guy has traveled way more than I have, way more than most people on this planet have traveled. He's a star child, but he lives. He's a free spirit. He still uses money, but he travels with very little. He goes to work just to travel, and he speaks Japanese, he speaks French, he speaks German, he speaks English, he speaks Spanish. I mean, this guy has spent a year in Japan. He's lived in Vietnam. He's lived in Tunisia. He's been many places. So there are people out there, especially the younger generation, who doesn't abide in fear. They're shattering amazement. They're shattering amazement. You know, the whole. Because see, the matrix is if everything's frequency. If the frequency doesn't bend, it shatters. The structure that's supporting the frequency will shatter in the presence of, let's say, the resonance of my frequency.
Right.
My body gets placed in, I went to jail in Mexico City, for 4 days. You know, Source has an intention for it. Well, it was twofold. One to share with me, show me where I needed to go because I've been looking for where to board the bus. Mexico City is the fifth largest city in the world, so I was trying to navigate. I didn't have a cell phone. It's like I didn't know where to go. So Spirit showed me where to go on my trip to jail. And then 4 days later, when I was released, I knew exactly where I needed to go to my next phase of my journey. But I don't think this journey ever ends. I think, I don't know. Again, I like to stay open to everything, attached to nothing. I pay attention to patterns. And the pattern revealed to me there's nothing to wait for, that you need to embody whatever you need to embody. Everybody keeps waiting and keeps talking about something, a wave coming or something coming or whatever. Spirit told me to quit being so myopic, and that, it made sense to me that the Wingmakers material said, the universe would reflect back to us, what we project into our universe. So we have to embody by faith and trust our own freedom before the universe will reflect that back to us or honor us in our new belief or our new embodied frequency. So you can wait. And you can wait. And it'll probably be your next life.
I ain't waiting. I'm not waiting. That's why I'm sitting where I'm sitting.
I just be as I'm supposed to, as I'm guided. Lawrence, I am nothing. And at the same time, I am everything.
That's right.
I have access to everything I need when I need it because I am one with that guiding source. That you are.
Are you pretty even keeled all day? I mean, I'm sure you are to have done what you've done over these even keeled all day. Not all day long every day. I'm just saying I would imagine most of the time you're pretty balanced considering what you've accomplished over the last 5 years. But do you ever have moments, human moments? And I don't mean to say you're not in touch with your humanity. I'm just saying, like, do you ever get down? Some people talk about the energies that hit sometimes, and they can be a bit debilitating to the body or make you emotional, or maybe memory comes up or something. Do you still go through some of that stuff that a lot of people are going through?
Not since I've been here in Tuscatamba. I mean, I went through, it's only in times of expansion when I get frustrated sometimes when the information is interpreted incorrectly. In other words, I had a closed mind. I thought in this way, in this direction. So I held to that. And it wasn't until hindsight that I go, dang, I didn't have to have such a uptight moment. But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty tranquil. I will tell you this. I no longer have a shred of fear in me. I mean, I can face anything because I know who I am now. I know who I am. We are hiding behind the mask. So that in and of itself is one powerful pill for tranquility. The absence of fear, where you know everything is love and it's happening for you, not to you, is a place of peace. No, I don't have drama. I don't speak hardly any Spanish, so I don't have conversations with anyone but myself.
That's what we all do.
And really, it is conversations with ourselves and other costumes. But there's very few here who actually spend enough time in America to pick up the language. Most people, that live here, by the way, are, have a dream of going to America and working for $20 an hour. These people here, a typical woman who makes tortillas at a tortilla stand or something will make what's referred to as a quetzal, 40 quetzals a day. 40 quetzals is like $40 to them, is only like $5 to you.
Yeah.
They make $5 in a day.
Yeah, and they want to go to America.
Anywhere between $5 to $15 a day. Yet they spend $40 for a gallon of fuel. To give you an idea of relativity.
Yeah.
That's
and
why they all have
polarity
they all have,
and paradox.
Well, there's a system of human trafficking that exists because of the disparities in the currency. All those people that live here leave and separate from their families to go work in America for the American dream so they can send money home, but they don't realize until after they get there that it costs a lot of money to live there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it eats up most of what they make. So then they work with a bunch of their friends from Guatemala who don't speak English either. So they spend 13 years there in America and they come back and they still don't know English or English. It's bizarre. They have a richness here in the emptiness. Again, a richness here you can only know through experience. This is a place off the beaten path. People, when they go to Guatemala, they go to Antigua. Antigua is the travel center of the world where people go to go see the beauty and wonders of Guatemala. But you go off the beaten path, you get to really know the people in the villages where they live on dirt floors.
I saw some of those pictures, man, with the donkeys and the horses. That was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I think you said it was rush hour traffic. You said it was rush hour traffic.
Yeah. Yes. It's a new experience for Lawrence. It's like I say, it's a new discovery. While I'm stepping into more and more expansion every day and more love every day. These people are just nothing but love.
Are your sensitivities and abilities, third eye vision, are they expanding, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Let's put it this way. My faith and trust in the one flowing through all has firmly anchored within my being. I can take a walk where I don't know where I'm going without any food or water. No problem. And it'll be provided. In one form or another, it'll show up. It'll just show up. I'll tell you another experience. I went to another volcano over there. I rode a bicycle. Somebody gave me a bicycle, and another family paid to have the bicycle repaired so I could ride it. And then I started riding the bicycle. And I rode a bicycle to this new town because I met another person in the park who said she was visiting this town called Horcones. So I'm thinking, well, maybe Spirit is wanting me to go to Horcones. So I rode the bike up to Horcones. And I didn't know how far it was or anything like that, or how high in altitude it was either. It was quite a journey for me. It beat the heck out of me.
How long did it take you?
Tore me anew. Well, it took me, the better part of the day to get there and back. But they don't know what switchbacks are here. Their roads just go straight up. So I bet
coming down was scary. Coming down must have been scary as hell.
Oh yeah, it's more scary than going up. That's for sure. But I went up there and this guy and his son or his grandson were setting up a tombstone or a grave for a family member that was passing away or passed away. And I was riding the bike home, and they saw me there, and they waved me over to them, and I'm all like, okay. So I came, and the first thing they do is they offer me food. And I really needed food because I hadn't had anything all day. And it's just like, these are the wonders and the magical that happen in the emptiness. You cannot experience the wonders and magic if you buy or pay for everything you think you need. But if you give it all to the universe, it gives the universe permission to provide for you. It gives permission to your spirit to shower you with the gifts of love that can flow through every heart on planet Earth. I don't need to know their language. I don't need to speak their language because they know my thoughts. They know when I'm hungry. I went to a hospital for 4 days in Guatemala here because I got some pesticide or something in my gut that tore me up. It wouldn't allow me to go to the bathroom for like 8 or 10 days, and I got fever and cold sweats, and I was like on my deathbed. And they offered me to take me to the hospital. I refused it one day, and then it was several days later they came up again and said they'd like to take my vitals. And this is when I was sleeping in the park in central Tezcatlipoca. I was sleeping in the park. They sent their ambulance people over to me and took my vitals, and then they ended up taking me in the ambulance to the hospital. I spent 4 days in the hospital. I didn't have to sign any paperwork. I didn't have to pay anything. They gave me a prescription for meds. I thought to myself, well, Spirit wants me to have this prescription for antibiotics, and I'll get the prescription. I got back to Tezcatlipoca after the doctor escorted me out of the hospital and sent me on my way and paid for my bus fare all the way back to Tezcatlipoca, which is about an hour away. I got back into town, and I went into a drugstore to fill the prescription, and the drugstore gave me the prescription. I got the prescription. Everything is provided. Everything is prepaid, insured, guaranteed, bonded, and prepaid by eternal essence embodied in the form. You will embody more of your essence by letting go of the ways and means of man, or as in your Bible it says in Romans 2, letting go of the ways of the world. You will embody more of the ways of the Spirit. You will embody more of your true essence, that power of love. I'm just a living testament to the truth of your potential. And my greatest joy is to share the love of God in you, all the other yous that are watching. That you too, these things that I do, you will do, and even greater things. So it's possible. I'm just an average Joe. I'm just a guy that went to work, paid my taxes, had a driver's license, grew out of a family, did the earthly thing. Until 2012, I got the call that said, hey, it ain't real.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go. Let it go, because every day's a new day. Time ended in 2012. Time as we've always known it in a linear sense. If you surrender it and you let it go, the whole past has no power over you the moment you release it.
That's right.
Once you become empty, only in the emptiness can you be fulfilled with the new frequencies. You can't do it with a bank account. You can't do it with a passport. You can't do it with those fallbacks. And that's what happened in the times of Moses. It was a fallback. That's why they never made it to the promised land. That's why I will hold the gates open. I will hold the space and the place of freedom for all I am, we are. And I'm sure there's other aspects of me all over the world that are doing the same thing right now.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people. A lot of people on the move. I had 64 and 70-year-old couple, two beautiful women. I've known them for a while. They got the call to come to Sedona, get rid of everything, come to Sedona 4 months ago. They've been living in a bedroom, and they're looking for a place for minimal amount, 2 bedroom, 1 bath in Sedona, where there's nothing here, but they got the orders and they know they're going to be taken care of. And there's a bunch of them out there. And there's a lot of people in their 50s, 60s, a lot of women getting out there and just hitting the road.
Well,
Something's in
when
the air.
Spirit comes knocking on your door, when Spirit comes knocking, don't judge it. Because if it wants to take everything from you,
Mm-hmm.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
If it wants to take everything from you, or it wants to kick you out of the house you're in, or whatever the case may be, take it as a blessing and say, "Thank you, Spirit. Show me the love hiding behind the appearances." And the universe has no option but to show you the love. It'll come to you in some form or another. You will see what you couldn't see had you judged the experience or that person who kicked you out another way. It's the judgment that perpetuates the suffering. Receive everything as love, and so shall it be love.
Yeah.
It's God saying, it's your time, let us go. We're walking into the wilderness, the unknown wilderness, where you will discover the love of God flowing through every other you in us.
Yeah, and what you said about linear time, like the past, you think about people, what we've done, shadow work, zero pointing, it's all the past. And yes, I know there's been an impression upon the awareness based on that, because this has been our physical life. But truly, if it's not linear, the only way it can go with us, is if we pick it up and bring it with us. It's an anchor that we don't need anymore. I think we're in an expansive enough atmosphere on the earth that we don't have to do that anymore. Do you ever think about the past?
What?
Do you ever think about the past?
Oh yes, of course I do. In fact, I reflect on it because when you reflect on it, you can see how my whole entire past was talking to me
Right.
all along.
Does it ever come? But does it ever come in to pull you down? Does it ever come in like something to be cleared?
No, I regret. I have no regrets. The relationship I had with my former wife, everything was a blessing. Everything, absolutely everything had divine purpose. It worked out just the way it was supposed to. There was one thing I wanted to make mention here so that people can understand. One thing that that's very powerful.
Call back. We got to hear this part. Call back. You went off again. Call back. We got to hear this part. All right. Wow. People living in villages with barely any plumbing. And full of love. There he is. Boom. Boom. Uh-oh. Yes, we can hear you. What were you going to say? This is this was like the kick. I want to hear this.
Okay. Rejection. If the human, my life has been filled with rejection. In fact, in the last 5 years, I'm on this journey into the void or the wilderness, whatever you want to call it. Rejection is a pointer. It's pointing us in the direction of freedom. Receive rejection as a pointer, and you'll discover the love hiding behind the rejection. Rejection comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes, and ways that, when received without judgment, set us free. Man, I lost my total train of thought. I had this rejection is so powerful. It's been so humility.
Yeah.
Humility in the face of rejection is powerful. Rejection is a pointer for Lawrence. Like when I go to get food and they say no, or I go try to get access to something and they say no, it's because I know I don't need it, or there's something else greater than waiting for me further down the road. Because everything is, I just repeat the mantra, everything is happening for me. So I stay open to everything and attached to nothing. So I couldn't get food here. Down the street, I might get food there. But when it gets to the point where I've made several attempts to get food, I can't, I settle into that acceptance and state of allowance and say, oh, there must be something else coming. And the next thing I know, I'm invited to go to dinner someplace. That's living beyond the limits of time. Because you allow things to happen, be orchestrated for you, event streams that come together in divine timing, not in my timing, but in divine timing. Everything happens, is allowed to happen when we allow it. We move into a state of allowance. So patience is a virtue that will carry you a long, long way.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right about that whole humility thing. When you're faced with what could be humiliating or, like a really harsh frequency. You're saying rejection, but I know, like, in my experience, which we talked about in previous shows, what we had in common back in the early days, you're totally like sprinted ahead of me now. But those moments where it's not a question of justice or morals or anything. It's this space where you're buck-ass naked and something not comfortable, not rejection, whatever you want to call it, is just it's just like full. But it taught me a lot. That taught me a lot. I know what you mean. I could feel that in your words. I know what that means, and that's
what we have to let go of is the story behind the rejection.
Right.
Because we take nothing, absolutely nothing personally anymore.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
key.
personal
That's
anymore.
key. That's key. That's key.
It's
Nobody's trying to do
source.
anything to you, right? Nobody's trying.
That's right.
I was going to ask you this.
Source intention.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this. Just based on what you're saying, I already know the answer, but I bet you don't often project in, like in an imbalanced way, like react, project. I would bet that doesn't happen to you often.
No, I just I just go with the flow. I just observe. I just observe, and I talk to myself.
Do you like want to partner up with somebody? Is it something that's on your mind? Is it something you think about, or do you like being alone and doing what you're doing?
I thought about that. I am perfectly whole because I'm never alone. I mean, I'm surrounded by love here. There's nothing but love here. And so I'm never alone. None of us are ever alone, truly alone. But in a sense, I don't know how. I mean, I don't. If there should be someone, I remain open to everything and attached to nothing. I mean, I'm perfectly fine alone, and it would be lovely to hook up with somebody that can handle a guy like me. But I mean, ask yourself the question. I mean, I'd have to meet somebody very, 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 very special that can handle a guy that doesn't live with money, doesn't know what tomorrow holds.
Good answer.
So I remain open to everything and attached to nothing. I'm cool either way. Either way. Yeah.
Fascinating,
It takes
man.
somebody very special to be able to handle
You think
somebody who
you're going to
doesn't
head
have a
into
house,
South
a job,
America?
a bank account.
You're going to head into South America?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
I
not.
don't know nothing.
I guess not.
Or I don't plan.
Well,
But
man,
I will go wherever it's best for all I am we are. If it is we go to the equator, so be it. If it is we go south, so be it. I don't know.
man, I hope you don't go off the grid again for a
It's,
long time.
well, I will say this. If I do, don't dare worry.
Right.
I'm
I got you.
always and always in good hands. I will be here a long, long time, one form or another.
That's right.
There is no, there is, everything is love, brother. Everything is love. There's no,
I feel you, man.
there's only one life and it's eternal. It's eternal.
I don't suppose you can get to Arkansas August 26th, 27th, and 28th for Soulogy Fest.
Oh, I would love to go. I would love to go to Arkansas. Trust me. I've been eyeing your ad, your promotion there. That would be cool to hook up with
Well,
y'all.
if not this year, next year. Well,
I throw the intention out.
yeah.
You know, if it is for the highest good of all,
Yes.
let it be. And that's yeah, that's where it's at. If you know, that's my intention is for the highest good of all. I have children who have children, and that's you know the main reason I decided to let go of your world is because I found out about the false narrative reality that could have gone the other way, I suppose.
Yeah. I suppose you're absolutely right.
I don't.
I read some words of
I don't know.
mine. Okay.
Honestly,
Go ahead.
honestly, I believe that the timeline, the timeline shift was, you know, you exist in all my realities, and it could have been any other way. You know, had I buried my head in the sand and continued to live a lie, then I would have buried myself and my offspring. But now that I brought myself into wholeness, I have brought my entire creation into wholeness. There's a perfection hiding behind the imperfection of everything. Everything is holy or whole, one energy. And that energy is love.
Far out. Man, brother, it's good seeing you. You look great. You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you. So do you, sir.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing. I'm very, very eternally grateful for your sharing all the people that I've met and listened to on your show and listened to on Facebook have been an integral aspect of my journey to delivering insights that I wouldn't have had otherwise. There are so many people that have shared so many jewels of awareness with me that have helped me on my journey. So to all of you, to all of us, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you are, all that you be. For without you, I wouldn't be.
Righteous. Ashe. Love you, man. You're number one. We're number one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Vaya con Dios.